Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Morgan, and welcome to Love Talk. I am here to answer your questions and discuss with you the issues that arise in human relationships. We have all inherited a kind of relationship that is not working out so well here in the 21st century. And so I'd like to speak with you about the issues and the things that have come up in your relationships and between lovers, husbands and wives, couples of any kind, and also between parents and their children. The Persian culture, regardless of where you live, is a unique culture in the world. Firstly, because it's such an ancient and noble culture, and there's traditions that have been passed down from centuries and centuries that are based in a certain kind of wisdom. And some of those traditions that have been passed down from centuries that have given you the kind of lifestyle that you have are no longer relevant to today's generation. So many of you may be experiencing either having moved from Iran and are raising children outside of that, outside of the Iranian culture, outside of the Iranian country, outside of Iran, and your children speak other languages. Sometimes, usually they speak more than 2 or 3. Sometimes they live in your household and have absorbed the Iranian cultures and traditions through you, and they also live in a world, their school, their society, wherever it is that you live, whether it's in the United States or Canada or England or Denmark. We have people that have called us from France and Sweden and Australia. So this show is worldwide, and I'm always astonished and amazed that there are some of you who are up in the middle of the night watching this show. So I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted, the privilege that it is to have your viewership, to have you participate with me in this exploration of what is it to be a human being? What is it that makes us all the same? You know, there were billions of human beings on the planet, so you could say that each and every human being is unique and individual. We all have unique and individual voices and faces and fingerprints and eye patterns. I mean, we're all extremely unique, even on simply on a physical level, but psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, we're all very, very, very unique. And yet, there is a commonality that is shared amongst all human beings, that while as different as we are in our beliefs, in our religions, in our philosophies, in our ways and means of approaching, in our financial situations, as different as we could be, there's something that makes us all the same. We're breathing the same air. We're in the same energetic vibration that is giving life and breathing life through us. And regardless of your spiritual or religious or philosophical or psychological background, there is something that you share in common with the most opposite person of you. So maybe I could say that better. There's something that you share in common with anyone, no matter how different from you that they are. So on this show, which is called Love Talk, we talk about the differences between men and women, because that's what most relationships are based in, even if it is a same-sex relationship, which I know is not very popular in the Persian culture, but nonetheless. Even in a same-sex relationship, there will be a more masculine and a more feminine one of the pair. And so in terms of, when I speak of men and women, I'm not being, as a couple, I'm not being homophobic or any of that. I'm not being sexist. What I'm saying is that each of us, me, you, all of us, have both a masculine and a feminine part of us. In our essence, there are 2 sides, just like my hand has 2 sides. You can't have one without the other. We live in a world of duality. We live in a world of left and right and up and down and in and out and black and white and good and bad. That's the illusion. The illusion is that there are opposites. The truth is that you can't have one without the other, so it's really one thing. And when we speak of looking at something holistically, we don't look at just, say, the palm of the hand or the back of the hand. We look at the whole hand and how it's connected to the whole person. So I wouldn't say, for example, I am my hand, and yet to a very large extent, that would be true as well. So it's neither true nor false that I am my hand. Why am I saying all that? It's neither true nor false that you are the relationships that you have in your life. You are the relationships that you have with your husband and your wife and your sons and daughters and parents. You are the relationships that you have with your friends. How you know who you are is by the reflection of those people as they reflect back to you bits and pieces and parts of your own internal essence, your own world, your own interior world, if you will. It is true to say that everything that has an outward manifestation, everything out there, whether it's a plastic chair or a beautiful flower or a tree or a beautiful woman, everything that's out there has an interior essence, has something that resonates with you in your own interior. So how it could be said that how you know who you are is look around at your world. Are you living in a world of abundance? Are you living in a world that reflects back to you happy and fulfilling circumstances and opportunities and things to do that interest you, that are fulfilling to your nature? In other words, are you busy in your life every day doing things that fulfill or answer the question, why am I here? What is my gift to the world? Who is it that I am that the world will be a better place because I'm here? And if you are not living that life, then I propose to you that you have traded that opportunity or traded that possibility for something related to just survival, just get by, just make it in some way. So the phones are starting to ring. I'm going to go ahead and take this call. Hello, this is Gregory, and you're live on the air.
Hi, Gregory. I have a question for you.
Okay.
There are lots of couples in Persian, culture that they don't have any particular issue with each other, but there are some outside influence in their life, such as mother-in-law.
Mostly mother-in-law, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, of all the outside influences, as soon as you said that word, I knew it was mother-in-law.
Yeah, and for example, I have this friend that she and her husband, they were like boyfriend girlfriend for 4 years, and they got married. They have 2 beautiful children.
Yeah.
And they don't have any specific issue with each other, but it's like they're always arguing and fighting. And
So they do have an issue. And I'll tell you what the issue is.
Okay.
Have you ever seen my show before, spoken to me before?
Yes, yes.
So one of the things you might notice is that I really rapidly sort of figure out what's going on, don't I?
Yes.
What's going on is that the husband is still married to the mother.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs to get a divorce from a mother so he can be free to be married to his wife.
Yeah, and in this particular case, the mother does not have the husband. The father actually died so many years ago.
I know, and this may sound cruel. This may sound like I don't care, but believe me, I say it with all the compassion in my heart. That is her problem, not his.
Exactly.
He's lost his father. She lost a husband. They're both adults. She needs to grow up. It doesn't mean that she gets to take the son as a husband now. Do you understand how sick that is?
Yeah, it is.
It's not well.
Nobody else is understanding it except this mother and her son. So what the daughter-in-law gonna do, because she has like 2 children?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to end this marriage because of the children.
Well, she needs to draw a line.
The daughter-in-law thinks and the mother-in-law thinks, and every aspect they're different.
I know.
I even don't understand how
the mother is competing for the son, and she's got an unfair advantage in that he grew up in her body, and she probably breastfed him, and taught him his first words and everything. So his loyalty to her is unquestioned. His loyalty to his mother is probably unquestioned and unquestionable. We belong, we love our mothers, and that's just kind of a done deal, right?
Exactly.
And then as we grow and become men and adults, there's a very, very absolutely vital and important thing that your culture skips over. I'm going to tell you what it is. There is no separation from the mothers such that young men, and I'm talking, they go through the motions. They have bar mitzvahs and stuff like that, but it's just, it's not a true acknowledgement of manhood where a boy becomes a man and is taken into a society or a culture of men who have bonded together for their own betterment and the betterment of society, and who treat this boy like a man so that he could grow up and be one. That's just not happening. That's not happening. They go to the bar mitzvah, and then he goes home, he says, "Mom, what should I wear to school tomorrow?" Or can I have some money? Or, there's no actual separation or ritualistic and ceremonial type of initiation into manhood. And I've studied over 157 different cultures that practice initiation into manhood, and it is absolutely vital. It's necessary for a man to go away from his mother and then come back in such a way that he is respected and acknowledged as a man. If that doesn't happen, then all kinds of hell breaks loose. And his loyalties are torn as his mother vies for his love and attention. His wife, who he has said, "I will be married to only you, I will honor and cherish you, and I will take care of you. I'll give you all of my love and money and energy for you and my children for the rest of my life." Basically, that's what we say when we get married, isn't it?
Yeah.
We say that. I mean, some version of that, don't we? I bring you into my home, I bring you into my family, I'm consecrated to you. All of these types of things that we say when we bond with a woman for marriage. And she has a right to believe that and to expect it after that. So for a man, it means that he has to turn to his mother and say, "Respect me as a man, respect my wife, respect my household, never interfere. If I want your advice, I will ask for it. Never give it to me until I ask for it. That's disrespectful, and I won't put up with it."
In this case, it's not happening. I mean,
well, I know.
The son does not understand that.
If that one thing happened, I promise you their whole marriage would change.
So it's been for a while. It's a couple of years, actually. So, and this couple, they went to the edge of divorce for so many times for this particular issue. And it's not happening. And, what's your best suggestion for the daughter-in-law? What she can do to, eliminate all this fighting and arguing just because of her?
I would have to speak to that daughter-in-law. Do you understand?
Yes.
Telling you what to tell her on television in about 3 minutes is not going to change much of her life, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would need to find out exactly who she is and what she's up to and what her concerns are, because, it always takes two to tango. In this scenario that we're discussing, it's all the mother-in-law's fault, and the poor son-in-law is torn between these two women, and the daughter-in-law is a complete victim of this vicious and horrible cycle. And I don't buy that for a second, do you?
Actually, the reason I'm saying that, because...
Well, would you buy that scenario?
In this case, I do, because she's the mother-in-law somehow related to my husband.
Yeah.
And I know that she even want to interfere to other people's lives.
So is the mother-in-law, is she your mother-in-law?
No, she's not.
All right. Well, what would you do?
I personally, I'm one of those type that I won't live in that, scenario even for 1 minute.
How would you coach this woman, because you know her 10 times, you know her, I don't know her at all. How would you coach this woman to put her foot down and create some healthy boundaries? You see, she bought into that. There's a whole thing that I can't go into here, but there's questions like, why did you accept such a codependent, unhealthy relationship in the first place? You must have a low opinion of yourself. That's all you deserve? Because I want to tell you something, somebody with high standards for themselves and a high self-opinion and healthy boundaries, they don't put up with that stuff. They go, not in my house. That's not going to happen in my family. And they put a stop to it, and they find out whatever it takes to do it. You women are 10 times smarter than us men when it comes to that kind of stuff anyhow.
Yeah, but something happened here. This woman got married when the mother-in-law was in another country, and she felt like she never going to see her for the rest of her life.
That's just really, that's all story. The story doesn't change anything.
Yeah. So I believe that she made a mistake because they
Yeah, but there's only right now. There's only right now. In other words, we can talk about how you got down the wrong street in the neighborhood that's, you know, looking pretty scary, but isn't it much more interested to talk about the fastest way out of there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares how you got there? You screwed up. Okay, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I care about. With me, I don't care about psychoanalyzing people and trying to figure out what it is. There are some questions to be asked, like who are you? Not you, but because you already told me you wouldn't put up with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a difference between you and her. She puts up with it and you don't. Okay, so you already got to get that there's already a difference. You have something to contribute to her. Okay, and I understand that you're trying to do that, and you're by getting coaching from me and like that, and I respect that a lot. But really, look, what would you do if that was your mother-in-law? What would you say to her, and what would you say to your husband to really make it clear that that doesn't work around here and it's not going to fly? How would you make that clear in the most respectful, loving, and absolute way so that nobody came and kept trying to step on your toes in your house?
I believe for some men it's hard to believe that, you know, their wife's going to leave, mostly when children are involved. So,
well, it may be hard to believe.
Yeah. I mean, the husband, he thinks like, you know, she's going to stay there. Doesn't matter how, you know, the mother-in-law going to interfere with their life. So it's been for a couple of years, it's a vicious cycle they're living in. And I believe that if she was strong enough, she could make a point that, you know, if this situation is going to continue, I'm going to leave. Even we have 2 children, and I'm going to take children with me. Maybe he could, you know, make some changes.
Well, there are gradient stages between that, right? If somebody was standing on your front porch that you didn't want to be there and they wanted to come in your house, okay, they were an invader and you didn't want them there, one thing you could do is close the door. Another thing you could do is tell them to leave and close the door. Another thing you could do is close the door and run out the back door. You could call the police. You could shoot them. There's like a lot of other things that you could do, okay? So I think leaving with the children might be like equivalent to shooting somebody that was on your front porch. You know, it's kind of like you don't really want to do that because now their troubles are over and yours are just beginning. As a coach, what I do is I empower people to find out who they really are, to take steps that are in measure with, I mean, like in other words, you don't just cut somebody's head off because they said something you don't like, right? But you can tell them, don't talk to me like that. And if you do, I will withdraw from this conversation, or I'll withdraw from participating with you, or I won't answer your phone calls, or you know what I mean? So there's various ways of setting up boundaries that are stronger and stronger, and there's some boundaries that have to be absolute. Like you do that and I'm out of here. Asking for your mother-in-law to respect your marriage and to stop interfering and telling your husband that that is a requirement, not a suggestion, that it is a demand, not a request, yes?
Yes.
That it is a condition of you staying here, then, you know, in fact, you know, she shouldn't leave with the kids. He should leave and go live with his mother since since he's so attached to her. Just go home. She'll make you some soup and, you know, tell you that I was no good for you anyhow. And let him deal with that.
You know, after a while you get to the point that you feel bad about yourself. It's like, you know...
Well, she felt bad about herself in the first place, I say, because she accepted to marry into that type of a situation. Now, I know there was this whole thing about how she didn't know, but she knew. People know. People know a lot more than they're willing to admit to themselves.
Yeah.
We know things that we step over all the time. Our intuition tells us stuff, and we ignore them because we want to get married, or we want to get out of a situation that we're in, or because we're in love, or because we're sexually turned on, or whatever, right? So we ignore things that we know are not warning signs.
Okay. And in my opinion, I mean, I can't believe the mother really, loves her son, because I believe if she loved him,
if she loved him, she would respect him. If she loved him like a man, she would respect him. The kind of love that she has now is needy. It's compulsive. It's attached. It's not what one would call unconditional love. Unconditional love means there's no conditions, right? And so if your son says, look, the way you're interacting with me is upsetting to my wife, and so I'm asking you to back off, do not interfere in my relationship, and never give me advice unless I ask for it, out of respect for me, then a person that loves unconditionally, it might hurt their feelings, but they'd go, okay, all right, I understand. I respect that. That's love. Crying or getting mad or upset and all that stuff, or being even more demanding, that's not love. That's trying to control. It's actually what I was going to talk about on the show today, and you've given me an opportunity to do it. It's when we have mistaken, and I wrote a brief article about it in my newsletter called Love Talk Online, and I wrote an article called Love is masquerading in obsession is masquerading in a lover's mask, or something like that. Parading in a lover's mask. It's when we are obsessed with something, it means that our sense of reference and value is over there outside of us. Now, it could be a thing or a person or a situation or a job or a career or a status or something, but we get our sense of value from something outside ourselves. That's a very dangerous situation to be in, because then you are destined to modulate your behavior so as to control that thing, because that's where your value is. And so you have no self-control. You relinquish your self-value and your self-control to try to go ahead and control that thing over there, whether it's another person or whatever. In this case, it's the mother-in-law trying to control the son, right? She has no sense of personal self and self-value, so she has to control something that she thinks she owns outside of herself, even if it means causing destruction around it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
She's treating her son as an object instead of being self-referential. When you are self-referential, your sense of value, self-worth, your sense of love, your compassion, your integrity, your spiritual worth and understanding, your wisdom, it all comes from inside. And it is unattackable. Nobody can take it away from you. And no matter what they say or do, you know who you are, and you value yourself, and you authorize yourself. You give yourself your own value. Do you understand that? And then you share from there. You participate with people from there. Oh, your son tells you, please back off, you're upsetting my wife. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was doing that. Okay, I understand. And you give them some space. That would be love. Okay? That would be somebody who was self-centered in a healthy way, centered in one's self, not self-centered like egotistically. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, so much.
So I hope this has helped.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Hello, this is Gregory. Thank you for holding for so long.
No problem. How are you today?
Very good.
I just had a question. I've been married for 4 years and a half, and I met my husband, of course, 4 years ago, and we dated for 2 weeks, and we got engaged, and everything was hot back then, and we got married after 6 months. So we didn't have a lot of understanding of each other, and now we've been married, like I said, for 4.5 years. And the problem right now is that we do love each other a lot still, and I am from Afghanistan and he's from Iran, and so the cultures are very similar.
Yes.
But the only thing is that he is very active person, very hyperactive, and I am a little bit more relaxed, and that's what I think before attracted us to each other, and now it's becoming a problem that he is very talkative, very active, and we don't have a lot of comments together. So
a lot of a lot of things in common.
We don't have anything in common.
Got it. Okay, I understand. Yes.
And so now, when he comes home, for example, he wants to talk about things, talk about his day, give me a
Full rundown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
you?
a person that I'm very quiet. I'm like yes and no person. So when he says something, I'm like yes, no, and he wants me to be the same way because he is that way.
That's very interesting.
And, tell him things the way he tells me. But then I want him to answer me the way I am and just say yes or no. And I get tired of how he goes on and on and on. And the answer is just yes or no. And it takes him 10 minutes to get to the answer. So this is becoming annoying. And I don't ask him anything because I know how he's going to answer it. So it's like silence, and this silence is bringing distance in this relationship. So I wanted to get your advice to see after 4.5 years of living together, and, if I complain to someone who is not knowledgeable enough like you, would just say that, he's not gambler, he's not alcoholic, he's not going with another woman, and what's your complaint? Same thing if he says about me will be the same thing. But then it's, I feel like there's a lot missing. It's, when we're at home, we basically have no comment. If he wants to do one thing I don't want to do, or if I want to do something, he would come along with it, but I would know deep down that he would want to do something else that I didn't, want to do with him. So I'm basically lost of what's the right thing to do at this time.
What scared you so much?
Right now?
Before. Maybe sometime during your relationship, but something happened that you're afraid.
I definitely don't want to get divorced, or I don't want to get, I don't want to lose the relationship because he's a great guy.
Yeah, but what's keeping you so quiet? I'm not saying that quiet people are afraid, so don't get me wrong. I'm not just categorizing, because to tell you the truth, I'm more like you myself, believe it or not. I talk a lot when I'm on TV, because people, it'd be pretty silly if I didn't. But I suspect that something has happened that has you wanting to control things by just sort of keeping everything safe and quiet and still.
I think because he, when I talk, I feel like he judges me a lot.
Rejects you?
He
Judges you?
Yeah, he judges me, and he also tries to give me advice of what to do, or of what I did, what was wrong, what was right in that conversation.
Okay, and so what's the matter with that?
I'm sorry?
What's the problem with that?
I feel like I'm not a little kid to be treated that way, and I feel like at the time that I'm talking, I just want him to listen to what I'm saying and not necessarily be judged or advised or controlled, or I feel in this relationship most of the time like he's like my dad. He controls me like I'm a little kid. I don't know, in a nice way, like I'm this little baby that, and it's always been that way. But when I was younger, it was okay for me, and now that
How old are you now?
I'm 29.
Okay.
And when I got engaged with him, I was 23.
I got it. So what I'm hearing so many things. It's very rich what you're saying in terms of there's layers and layers of things, and it's pretty difficult to sort of cut through all of them at the same time and get down just to the essential thing, yes? It's interesting because in a way you've switched roles, or you're attempting to. Is he older than you?
Yes, 10 years.
So would you think that it would be natural for him to feel protective and sort of fatherly toward you? Especially if he was 29 or 30 and you were 20 or something, but now you're 29 and he's 40 something, right?
He is 39.
Okay, so can you see that it might feel natural for him to want to... How men love women is that one of the first things we want to do is provide and protect them. We want to take care of them. It's a sign of love. Wanting to give you advice and all that may be the best way that he knows how to do that for you right now, and it may be annoying to you. Like you don't want his advice. Yeah?
Right, but at this time, like, my complaints are a lot less than he is. He complains about that, how we have the silence between us, why we're not friendly like other couples,
why I don't just, if anything happens, I just don't come in the way that I go to my friends. I don't just come and tell him why, so all these whys make me wonder that he's not happy in this relationship. That
well, how much fun do you think?
I don't complain at this time. I say, this.
Well, how much fun do you think it is to be around you? Do you think it's fun?
He says, I tell him, what are your complaints?
No, I want your answer.
My answer?
How much fun do you think it is to be around you? Would you want to be around someone like you?
When I'm with him, no. But when I'm with others, yes.
In other words, would you like to come home to somebody, tell them all about your day, and want to have a conversation with them and have them just give you the silent treatment? Would that be fun for you?
No.
I don't think it'd be very fun for anyone.
Yes, but I understand that, and I understand him. That's why I'm saying, what's the solution for this? Because why I don't want to listen to that is because, like I just explained, because the lecture time that he gives me, by the time he gets to the answer, I don't want to hear all that for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, so how was your day? Instead of 1, 2, 3, or not just about his day. Or if I say, did you go to this place? He goes, no, I didn't go. Instead of saying, no, I didn't go, he goes, because of this, all this happened, so consequently, I didn't go.
I want to tell you something. There's something that you're upset about. I don't know if you're afraid or angry or something, but you and he are in a sort of power struggle, and from listening to your side of it, it sounds like you're the one that's in a power struggle. Have you ever seen people that talk like this? When they talk, they make this chopping sound?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like get to the point. Is that you?
Yes.
You do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is a castrating, cutting off gesture. This is what you do with him.
So
okay?
What's your advice?
You cut him off like this. That's chop, 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 chop. That's how you cut onions or carrots or something, okay? And that's how you cut off somebody's sentence, their word, their love, their intention, their communication, their ability to be in relationship with you. You just cut it off.
And I do that. You're absolutely right. But what's your advice in this?
Well, it's more than I can give you in 2 minutes, but you do need to...
I can wait if you want me to wait.
Well, no, here's the thing. You need to get some counseling, all right? This is not something that...
Counseling.
Huh?
I've been going to one.
Well, it's not working. Change counselors immediately. I'm not here to baby people, okay? Change counselors. If it's not working, it's not working. I get instant results with my clients, okay? The people that come and see me and my wife, 4 or 5 sessions, it's done. If they're not done in 4 or 5 sessions, then, maybe there's a deeper thing that they are. And then we have some people that just want to come back because they want to progress further in their life, But they don't actually have any problems anymore. I have people that come and see us just because they want to stay on top of their business, their relationship, their kids. And so they come and see us from time to time for that. But people that come to us with something like what you have, we get right to the point with it within a couple of hours. It's not something like you need to keep coming back every week like this. How long have you been going to these counseling?
I've been there for 10 sessions now.
Anything changed?
Yeah, I see some changes, but there's still stuff to work on.
From what I hear, I don't hear the conversation of somebody who has experienced a personal insight or transformation. I hear somebody who is complaining, being a victim, who's judging and evaluating, who is unwilling to communicate, really. I mean, you're willing to communicate with me, but you're unwilling to communicate or even hear the communication from somebody who's clearly loves you and wants to be in communication with you. So I can just tell you that it's absolutely predictable how that's going to turn out. You know how it's going to turn out? Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
He's going to go find somebody else to talk to that finds him fascinating and wants to listen to. That's how that's going to turn out. It's just a question of time.
But see, if I say something to him, like if I say stuff or discuss stuff that I talk to my friends about, and we talk back and forth, it's not interesting for him. It's like either he says, oh no, or yes, or
yeah, this is just more of your...
you should have done it this way. The way you did it wasn't...
This is more of your complaining, justification, and all of that. This is just you being right about your position. You're angry at something. You're afraid first. There's something that you're afraid of, and now you're being angry on top of that, and then on top of that, you're justifying it by justifying your behavior, and your behavior is one that is disempowering and disconnecting from somebody that cares about you. So it's just a question of time before he'll stop putting up with that, or you get to the source of what it is and get restored to the part of you that is loving, compassionate, understanding, and actually cares for this man. If you don't care for him, then don't torture him to death by giving him the silent treatment. Do you understand? I don't know if you can still hear me, and I hope you're still online, but I do want to move on to some other calls. The line are all lit up, and I don't want to listen to you complain about something that's actually your issue. And I really recommend that you get some counseling on this, if not from me or my wife, somebody who will actually take you to the point where you are complete about this incomplete or unfinished business that you have, and that you learn that it's 100% your responsibility to be in communication with the people in your life that love you.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life.
در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. محیطی مناسب و هیجان انگیز برای رشد و شکوفایی عشق، ازدواج و خانواده خلق کنید. زنی شاد باشید، قلب مردان را بشناسید و آنها را درک کنید. کارگاه آموزشی بانوان، اروپا، 20 تا 22 آپریل. برای ثبت نام با تخفیف ویژه پاییزی با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.
Hi, I'm on the air with a caller that tell you a little bit of background, okay? This caller has been married for 18 years. Is that right?
33.
33 years, excuse me. 33 years. You were 18 when you got married.
Yes, I was 18 when I
Okay,
got
so
married.
she's got grown kids that are off in law school and like that. Her husband is an addict and has moved into the house with another woman and is pretty much just staying stoned all day. And they've opened a business together, and she's asking me what should she do, and I've said she should file for divorce. It doesn't look like he's coming back. It doesn't look like he's going to suddenly start going to AA or anything like that, right? He's not going to start going to Addicts Anonymous or anything. So you're going to Al-Anon. You're learning what it is to clear up your own life as a codependent person who's the support person for an addict, yes? In those kind of relationships, there's always somebody who's the 100% and somebody who's a zero. And in this case, you were the zero, because you got left and he went on to open another business, live with another woman, and keep on taking his drugs and doing whatever he wants to do. In that situation, I'm not saying be vindictive, I'm saying be economical. I use the example, if you cut yourself and were bleeding, would you stand around and wonder, oh, how did I get this cut? Or, as your blood is flowing out? No, you would stop that immediately and then try to avoid it in the future, okay? And what there is to do when somebody has taken away something that is precious to you. You were saying that you'd always dreamed that in your 50s you guys would travel the world and go to the movies together and take vacations and do nice things together. That was a fantasy, my dear. I'm sorry to say, it was a fantasy to think that somebody would take drugs for 33 years and then suddenly stop. But you would have to live in that kind of a fantasy to even put up with it for that long. So you've contributed to this. Do you understand? I know that you're getting this in Al-Anon as well, right? You've contributed to this. You have trained him, supported him, take care of his kids, made dinner for him, cleaned his house, made it all possible for him to be whatever measure of success he had as a businessman and financially and everything. You've made it possible for him to do that while being a drug addict. You contributed to that. Like, you gave your life for it. You gave 33 years of your life for that.
But we always, had argument and disagreement with this.
Yeah, because, Deep down, that's all you felt like you deserved. I know that's kind of cutting to the quick, but it is. If you felt that you deserved better than that, you wouldn't put up with it for 1 second. Do you know there's people that can see an addict coming a mile away and they got radar and they're just like, no thanks. I value myself, my life. I'm somebody and I'm going to do something with my life, and I'm looking for somebody who is committable. And I ask you to write this down. An addictable man is not a committable man. You either got your addictions or your commitments in life, and they do not mix. Okay? Your life is either being run by your addictions right now, or it's being run by your commitments. And when you have commitments, then you are able to practice something called self-denial, foregoing your own personal pleasure in order to accomplish something bigger and more important than your personal gratification. All of those things are reflections of somebody who lives a committed life and who is committed to something bigger than their life, something more important than their. An addicted person cannot make those kinds of commitments and stick with them, because the addiction is stronger than the ability to keep the commitment. Do you understand? I don't make them wrong. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be addicted. It's not a bad person, but it's a person that has an affliction, if you will, that is stronger than their ability to overcome it. But their addiction doesn't care about their feelings. Their addiction doesn't care about your feelings. The addiction doesn't care whether you get to keep the house or not. The addiction doesn't care whether his son stops respecting him, or his wife divorces him, or everybody talks about how he left his wife and went and lived with another woman and is a drug addict. His addiction doesn't care. Do you understand? About his life or your life. And you're staying attached to that going, but I love him. No, you don't. You're addicted to him. You're addicted to that situation. You're addicted to that feeling of feeling bad because you've gotten so used to it. You've gotten so used to that horrible feeling of feeling like something's not quite right and, it's going to get better tomorrow or something, right? Whatever it is you tell yourself. Now it's time to snap out of that, right? And to pull yourself up. You, just like an addict would need to get into a program and see a counselor every day, like talk to their coach or their sponsor every day in a program, right?
Yeah.
They go to nightly meetings and they talk because they're not able to stand on their own for very long, right? That's their motto, one day at a time, right?
Yes, it is.
One day at a time, one day at a time. If I can make it through today, then, then I can make it through tomorrow, and like that, right? Until you build those days up and then you develop that ability to live by your commitments, which is a habit that takes practice. You're doing that. You're going to Al-Anon program and you're learning to separate yourself from the things that's pulling your life energy out, yes?
Yes, detachment.
Yeah, so you asked me, I'm saying if he's living with, how long has this been going on?
It's almost a year and a half.
He ain't coming back, I promise you. And if he does, it's just to get some more energy or some more something so that he can keep on doing whatever he's doing. This woman may throw him out someday or something like that, so he'd come crawling back, but God help you if you let him back in the house.
No, I promised myself.
Yeah, I know you promised yourself, but you've made other promises to yourself in the past that you've broken too, haven't you?
Not since I'm going to Al-Anon.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, and so you're saying that divorce is the only remedy for this, as of now?
I'm not saying divorce is the only remedy, but what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to stay married to a drug addict, and so then every time you meet a nice man, I'm married, but my husband's a drug addict, and you can tell the whole story and all that? See, there's no place in your life for a healthy, happy, wealthy, fun-loving, committable man. There's no room. He couldn't get in the front door with you. Do you understand why I'm saying that?
I'm not ready to accept anybody as of now.
Yeah, the best man in the world that would love to take good care of you and treat you well and bring you gifts and take you around the world and show you a great time and give you the kind of life that you deserve, or share the kind of life that you deserve with you, whether he gives it to you or just simply you guys share it together or however you do that, you wouldn't even give him the time of day.
That's true.
Because you're so heartbroken and forlorn over a drug addict who's getting stoned right now while we're talking.
That's true.
With another woman.
That's true.
You're a sucker. I'm sorry to say, I know that it's easy for me to say and hard for you to do, but that's what there is to do. There's no easy solution to this. And why I say get a divorce, I imagine you both own a house together, yes? after 33 years? I imagine you own property, houses. His name is probably on loans that you may have, on businesses that you may own. All that's going to happen if he's in his 50s and sucking down dope is that money is going to get used up for dope. And at one point in your lifetime, you may not have groceries because he's got dope, okay? And so why I say get a divorce is get your part of that money under the state laws that are wherever you live, so that you can begin to create a life, so that you have a stable base of your own as a human being. You know, you owe it to yourself and to your children. Otherwise, you'll become a liability for your sons and daughters and for the state. You know, here's a woman, she raised a family, her sons are, you told me they were in law school and medical school, so they're doctors and lawyers, but she can't even take care of herself because her husband went off and got stoned and took all the money. Don't allow that to happen. You have a responsibility to your sons and daughters or whoever else is in your family to show them that, okay, I could screw up. Maybe I did something for 33 years that has turned out like this. I love the man, but now I have to take care of myself. Teach them that you can be responsible and that you can stand on your own now. You know, you deserve to have somebody that cares about you, that can be committed to you, okay? One of the themes that I'm talking about here today, at the heart of that theme is the ability to be self-referential in a healthy way, as opposed to object-referential. In other words, to be able to stand on your own and stand for something and have something to give. And, you know, it's one thing to talk about that. It's another thing to be able to be that and to have that in your own life. And people ask me, well, how do I get there? And I'm going to tell you that at least spend 30 minutes a day to an hour a day. If you can't do an hour, do 15 in the morning and 15 in the afternoon of complete silence and reflection. Just completely be quiet. If you've never studied or practiced meditation before, it's just about being quiet. Don't talk. Just allow yourself to be there and notice the things that go on in your mind until, you know, you have the ability to quiet your mind. That's the beginning. And then when you can quiet your mind, you can focus your mind, and your mind can be focused on a single thing. And as you become more able to do that simple thing, then you begin to know yourself. And when you know yourself, it's easy to see others and to see what's going on. We have an innate ability, and one that is I've developed through martial arts and dance and theater and writing and meditation for over 3 decades now. The Japanese call it Mushin. The samurai warriors call it Mushin. It means the mind of no mind. It means that the ability to stay singularly focused and yet open, committed but not attached. So focused but available. So I'm available for this phone call. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
I just want, first of all, thank you for your show and your time that you're spending with us. And the second, I don't have any question. I just want to ask you more about your seminars in London that you mentioned last week. I want to have some more information.
Great. Are you in London?
Yes, I'm in London.
Excellent. You can find out about our seminar by going online. I'm going to post it with all the details and everything. As to the exact address and the times and dates and stuff, I don't have them in my mind. I'm sorry. I should have written them down so that I could tell you more explicitly. But I promise to post them on the line on our website, which is on your screen, www.embracegrowth.com. And you will see a screen there that says services. And one of them is seminars. And when you click on seminars, it tells you about the times and dates of our upcoming seminars.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. Okay, bye-bye. Hello, this is Gregory, and you're live on the air.
Hi, Gregory.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Good, I'm calling from California.
Good. How can I help you?
I have a question for you. My boyfriend and I have been together for over 2 years, and it's been a great relationship. He's a great guy. He cares a lot about me and my family and my friends.
Yes.
And his family approve of me. My family approve of him. There is no problem whatsoever. We are on the same boat in terms of education, work. There is no problem. There is nothing that I can tell you negative about him. And more or less, I know that he has the same thought about me. from what I hear from his family and friends, and also sometimes through our own conversations,
Yeah.
I understand that he's happy in the relationship. And the only thing that has occupied my mind is we are both in our mid-30s, and we are not getting any younger, and we are both family-oriented. However, there has been not a single time that we've been talking about our future or marriage. Never. Ever. Nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of inappropriate at this stage in your relationship.
Yes. And I just don't know how to approach this, because on one hand, I care about him, and I know that he does too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it or ruin it. On the other hand, because it's hard to meet the right people in the society.
Okay, I understand, but I want to give you a little bit of feedback. First of all, have you ever? I highly recommend. I can tell that you haven't, because you wouldn't be asking this question. You've never listened to the 12 Stages of Romantic Relationship, which is my CD that answers all of this questions that you've just asked and more, very, very, very succinctly. And my wife's book, which is called Girl Talk, which is both in English and in Farsi. Both of them, from both a woman's point of view and from a man's point of view, tell you how to recognize if somebody is committable, and I'll say it in a better way, if they're qualified to be married. And as a woman, you want to figure that out really fast, okay? The faster you figure out whether somebody's qualified to be married, A, and qualified to be married to you, B, is very important. You'd want to find that out right away, wouldn't you?
I guess I should.
Well, if you were in a boat that had just enough gas to go halfway to that island out there, and then it was going to run out and that was it, wouldn't you want to know that sooner rather than later?
Yes, yes.
If you only had enough gas to get halfway to the next island, you'd want to know that right away, wouldn't you, before setting out? Because once you go past that quarter of the way mark, you're not even going to get back without rowing. Okay? And if you go all the way halfway, you're going to be out in the middle of the ocean with no way to go. All right?
Yes, but my concern sometimes is it better to stay in a healthy relationship or lose it just because I want to get married?
Yeah, absolutely you want to lose it because you want to get married. No, let's marry somebody that's unhealthy, unready to be a father and a husband. Let's marry that guy, and then let's get some kids and make them completely dependent on us because they're infants. And then let's fight about how it's not working out. And then let's get a divorce and separate all our problems and screw up our kids' heads so that they get a divorce when they grow up. Is that a better alternative? Because that's what you're heading towards.
No, it's not a better alternative.
No, but that's I'm telling you, that is the predictable outcome of somebody that would ask the question that you just asked. Now, I'm saying it loud so I get inside your head, okay? Not because I'm mad at you or anything like that. I'm saying it loud so that it resonates in your mind. That's what you're looking at. Don't be foolish. If somebody is not qualified to be a husband and a father, and very few men are, I'm sorry to say it, okay? That's why I do these shows. That's why I do the work that I do, because so few men have had the training and the discipline. Marriage is a learned discipline. Women don't have to learn it as much as men do. Okay, it kind of comes naturally for you. But for men, to be a husband and a father is a learned discipline. And nobody's teaching it anymore. Who would they look to? Where would they find a good example? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. What do you think is the best way for me to approach without scaring him off?
Well, wait a minute. If he's going to get scared off after 2 years, good riddance! That's my whole point. If after being a part of your family and you being a part of his family and you guys have had sex and all kinds of stuff and spent money together and done all this stuff together, and now you're afraid that he's going to run away if you say, look, I want to get married, and we've never talked about that before, I would say if he's going to get scared and run off because of that, then the sooner he does that, the better for you. The sooner he does that, the better for you. Because he's going to do it anyway. You think that by keeping him around for another year or something like that and kind of being nice and, you know, giving him what he wants, that maybe you're going to pull him in. Let me tell you something. I've been one of those guys. And I know exactly what they're thinking. It's like if I went down to, you know, the Mercedes place and picked out the best one on the lot, the one I like the best, and said, let me drive it for a couple of years and see if I like it. And if I do, I'll come back and pay for it. What do you think the chances are of me coming back and paying full price for that Mercedes? And I'm an honest guy. Probably zero. I'll probably find something wrong with it. You're the prize. You're the one. You're the one that he's picked to stay around and to stay with and to be with, to the exclusion of all the other women. I'm assuming you have a monogamous relationship, yes?
Yes, I got you.
Right? He didn't pick any other car on the lot, so to speak, in this metaphor, right? In this example, he's picked that one, right? He says, I want that one. But I don't want to pay for it just yet. I just want to like drive it around a little bit and see how it works, and I'll come back in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Do you understand?
Yes, I should be as blunt as that. Like,
well,
I want to get married.
Here's the thing. Get this book, please. Get Girl Talk and 12 Stages of Romantic Relationship. And then, in fact, we're having a summer thing, a special at the end of the summer. It's everything's about half of what it usually costs. There's a package that has Girl Talk, the 12 Stages of Romantic Relationship, and Legacy of Love, which is another CD set of mine, together in a package. And then also, so go check it out at embracegrowth.com, and you'll see those packages. It's actually less expensive than it's ever been, but it's also less expensive than buying them one at a time. I highly recommend that if you are in a relationship of any kind and contemplating getting married, do not do that until you've at least integrated the message that's inside those 2 books and CDs. It'll save you years of pain and suffering. It'll save you having kids with divorced parents. It can save you lawyers' fees and therapy fees by simply understanding those principles. I promise you, I put those down because people need to understand at least those basic things about having a long-term committed relationship. For a woman, one of the things I talk about in there is pogratitude. I know that's a funny word. It's from a Greek word called pogoros, which means grace and beauty. Women, particularly, but also certain handsome men, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, George Clooney are the first ones that pop in my mind. Brad Pitt, right? We as a society grant certain powers to people who have grace and beauty. And as a woman, between the ages of anywhere between 18 to 40, well, all the way up to 45, but mostly 18 to 40, okay? You have a particular power over men. Do you know that?
I didn't.
Well, you do. You have more power than you believe. Almost any relatively attractive woman could entice almost any man to make love with her and to stay with her and take care of her, as long as he wasn't some happily married guy or something. But do you know what I'm saying? And after you get to be 40, that power of pogoros begins to diminish. So one of the things that I talk about is that your power of pogoros, your power of grace and beauty, diminishes over time. It's like a bank account or a trust account that you've been given as a young woman. Do you want to spend 10, 12 years of your life sort of either going from guy to guy or sticking it out with some guy who has not even got his car keys on the table? He has nothing to lose from walking away from you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. He can still go on, and in fact, some men become even more attractive the older they get. So he can get married as long as he's got money, he's halfway decent looking. You don't even have to be good looking if you have money. You can always have sex if you have money, right? You can always have relationships and stuff if you have money. So for men, they don't have the same time constraints that women do. If by the age of 35 or so you haven't leveraged your trust account, your power of pogratitude, into a secure situation called a home and a husband and a family that works, it's going to be harder and harder for you to do that. And you innately know that. That's how you started the call off. We're getting in our 30s, right? So the time clock's ticking.
Actually in our mid-30s.
Okay, so you're in your mid-30s, and for him, he's just hitting his stride. Do you know what I mean? He's got another 40 years,
And you think him coming from a divorced family is not an issue for him? I think that coming from a divorced parent is his main big phobia.
Possibly, but it's not insurmountable. Has he ever been married before?
I have been. He hasn't.
Okay, so Did you learn your lesson?
I did. I was only 17 when I did that.
Okay, so I understand. So get those CDs, those DVDs, those CDs, and there's a book, there's DVDs, there's all kinds of stuff that we have put out exactly for people of your generation, okay? So that you don't waste your time and energy and youth chasing down something that's not going to happen. Or if it does happen, it's even worse because now you have children. You've never put together certain ground rules to qualify whether or not you're qualified to be married, he's qualified to be married, and you're qualified to be married to each other. He might be qualified to be married to someone who, like my previous caller, will put up with his childish ways for 30 years before he leaves her and then goes and lives with another woman 33 years later. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I do. So you don't think I should give him some more time?
You have already given it. You'll see in the 12 stages of romantic relationship, I tell you the steps to go through to be married in 1 year from having just met someone. And I don't recommend you get married before a year, and I don't recommend that you get married much longer after that, because then if you've been together with somebody for an entire year and you're not engaged with a ring on your finger and a date and a time by when you're getting married, then you're fooling yourself. You're just dating. You're just using each other until something better comes along. There's no commitment to actually spend life together, or you would have done it already. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have that commitment, but how I know somebody is committed is they take the risk, and you're not willing to take the risk. Oh, I might lose him. But from my world, and I'm kind of having a little bit of fun with you, but it's insane. Here's somebody who's going to leave me again eventually. I'm afraid that if I tell him I don't ever want him to leave me, that he'll leave me. It's kind of like that. It's so crazy that it's almost funny. Do you understand? I mean, it's sad, but it's funny.
Yes.
If he's going to leave you, don't you want him to leave you soon? While you're still young and beautiful? Before you have kids?
Yes.
I would rather he leave tomorrow if he's going to leave, so you could get on to finding somebody that's not going to leave. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, great. So what are you going to do?
I guess I'm just going to have to pull myself together and talk to him.
Well, I really recommend that you educate yourself first, because there's precise conversations that can have that go well, and there's other ways of approaching that could have it go not so well.
I'll be checking your website.
Okay. All right. So they're telling me I'm out of time. I got to wrap this up.
Okay,
Thank you for calling, and watch me next week, okay? All right.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I'm sorry, there's people that are live that are waiting on the line, and some of them have been holding for some time. I'm going to go ahead and close the show, and I may be able to take a couple of calls. So I'm Gregory Morgan. Check out our website, embracegrowth.com. Join our newsletter, and I'll send you articles and information about our seminars and workshops and our products. And I love you, and I'll see you again here next week on Love Talk.
Welcome to the Embrace Growth app. There's a new way to communicate and join in. Create your free account online and sign into the app. Manage your profile on the go and choose between English or Farsi. Register for events and schedule appointments more easily than ever. Stream audio, video, and download books all over Wi-Fi or cellular. Sign up for workshops and seminars right on your phone, and access your audio and video library in the palm of your hand. Take your favorite lessons from Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan with you. Download it today on the App Store.
در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. محیطی مناسب و هیجان انگیز برای رشد و شکوفایی عشق، ازدواج و خانواده خلق کنید. زنی شاد باشید، قلب مردان را بشناسید و آنها را درک کنید. کارگاه آموزشی بانوان، اروپا، 20 تا 22 آپریل. برای ثبت نام با تخفیف ویژه پاییزی با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.
Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Rosita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.
Welcome to the all-new embracegrowth.com. You'll have access to all the content you love at the click of a button. Videos of seminars, events, and the ability to sign up for workshops. Direct access to digital downloads right from your mobile devices. Stay in the know and see our latest graduate events. Watch your favorites anytime, anywhere. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life. A haven for the weary soul, a source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals, that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times.
برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه‌شنبه‌ها و پنجشنبه‌ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 66 55.